Krishna's advice for a successful practice of yoga. Free from ever-hoping desires and from cravings for possessions, with the heart, waves of feeling, controlled by the soul, by yoga concentration, retiring alone to a quiet place, the yogi should constantly try to unite with the soul. He who knows that his soul is divorced from God, body-bound by the mental waves of feeling, longs to return to Spirit's omnipresence. Stanzas 10 through 14 give many wonderful pointers to help the devotee attain his goal. The aspirant who meditates without eliminating desires and hopes, instigators for action of sensory enjoyment and possession, finds his mind roaming into the realm of materiality, planning for and visualizing various gains. So when the yogi starts to meditate, he must leave behind all sensory thoughts and longings for possessions by quieting the waves of feeling, chitta, and the mental restlessness that arises therefrom, through the application of techniques that reinstate the controlling power of the untrammeled superconsciousness of the soul. A quiet place, disconnecting the mind from the sensory world. The devotee should choose for his meditation a quiet place. Noise is distracting. Only a yogi who can go into ecstasy at will can meditate in both quiet and noisy places. The devotee should begin his meditation with the practice of techniques of Kriya Yoga, by which he can disconnect his mind from the outer sensory world. Many non-meditating individuals think that it is impossible to do this, not realizing that they accomplish the feat every night in sleep. When the body is relaxed for slumber, the life force begins to withdraw itself from the muscles and motor nerves, and then from the sensory nerves. At this juncture, the mind is disconnected from all sensations and becomes concentrated in the joy of subconscious rest. The state of sleep does not involve total unconsciousness because, on waking, a man realizes the nature of his sleep, whether it was light or deep, unpleasant or pleasant. Kriya Yoga teaches one to go consciously into the state of sense disconnection without entering the eclipsing shadows of sleep. Krishna and Babaji, knowing the science behind the psychological and physiological process involved in sleep, devised the special form of that science, known as Kriya Yoga. By which the spiritual aspirant can pass at will beyond the threshold of the less joyous subliminal state of subconscious slumber into the blissful superconsciousness. Withdrawing both the mind and the life force from the senses, the yogi unites them with the light and bliss of the soul. And eventually with the cosmic light and cosmic bliss of the spirit. In addition to solitary meditation, wherein the devotee cherishes his exclusive communion with God, a restless devotee will find it beneficial to meditate with other sincere souls, and especially with advanced yogis. The invisible vibrations emanating from the soul of a yogi will greatly help the beginner to attain inner tranquility. Jesus said, "For where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst of them." Conversely, it is spiritually disturbing to a habitually restless devotee when he tries to meditate with someone even more restless than himself. Unless persons meditating together are making a sincere effort to cultivate devotion and meditative self-control of body and mind, A negligent meditator not only makes no progress himself, but is a negative distraction to others who themselves are having difficulty trying to go deep within. Careless indifference and bodily restlessness in meditation cause negative vibrations. Sincere spiritual effort, regardless of inner struggle, sends forth positive spiritual vibrations. The ecstatic meditation of the advanced yogi in deep communion with God radiates supernal blessings of God's presence. Deeply meditating disciples should concentrate on their guru or meditate with him if possible. Those who are spiritually advanced do in fact meditate with the guru by visualizing him in the spiritual eye and tuning in with him, whether or not they are in his physical presence. During meditation, the spiritual vibration of a great master silently works on lesser yogis who may be meditating with him or who are in tune with him, regardless of distance. It is sufficient for a disciple to think strongly of his guru before meditation. He will then find his meditation on God to be reinforced by the Lord's power flowing through the direct, tangible channel of the guru. Deeper meaning of solitude, absorption in the spiritual eye. The student of metaphysics should understand this stanza in a deeper sense. It is here said that the yogi should remain in solitude and continuously meditate on his soul. The real state of solitude is attained when the yogi can switch off his life force from the senses and keep his mind concentrated, not on the 5 centers of the spine, but at the single spiritual spherical eye. Through his eye, he can perceive omnipresence and forget the body consciousness, which is produced by the action of the earthly current at the coccygeal center, the water current at the sacral, the fire current at the lumbar, the life force of air current at the dorsal, and the etheric current at the cervical. A yogi attains the perfect state of solitude when he can rest in the superconscious bliss of the soul that exists beyond the subconscious state of sleep. In deep sleep, no disturbance of the senses can easily reach the mind. When the yogi, however, is concentrated at the spiritual eye in ineffable joy, he is really in the solitude that none of the senses has power to invade. Verse 12. Established on that seat, concentrating the mind on one point, and controlling the activities of the fanciful faculty, gita, feeling, the power that visualizes, and the senses, let him practice yoga for self-purification. The ordinary person's mind is restless and undisciplined. By meditation, once in a while he is able to concentrate on one object at a time, such as the cosmic sound of Om, which can be heard by a special yogic technique. Mind passes along with the life current from the brain through the spinal centers and then into the many branches of the nervous system and the innumerable cellular points of perception. The ordinary mind is therefore spoken of as being concentrated on the many points of the flesh. It is entangled principally in sensations, in the sensory tracts. The mind and life force, engaged in looking at duality through the two eyes, listening through the two ears, smelling through the two nostrils, tasting through the forked tongue, and touching through many points of the skin, are thus dissipated in myriads of perceptions. Man becomes matter-bound, torn by countless distractions. When the Kriya Yogi withdraws his mind and life force and gathers them together to be concentrated at one point in the single eye, he begins to look into the omnipresent sphere of the infinite. This is what is meant by making the mind one-pointed, the single eye, vision referred to by Christ. When the yogi meditates more deeply, he finds his mind automatically concentrated at the one point of the spiritual eye. In ecstasy with the Lord. In the beginning, the devotee by meditation succeeds once in a while in quieting the mind. By deeper progress, he finds that half of the time his mind is concentrated on the divine and half of the time scattered in bodily and material perceptions. By further spiritual development, he remains in a state of continuous and one-pointed concentration, very seldom experiencing restlessness. In the final or niruddha state, his consciousness fully liberated from body identification and ascended into spirit. The yogi becomes permanently one with the Absolute. In this stanza, the Gita points out, during the effort of being one-pointed, the yogi will be unsuccessful unless he can, by concentration, withdraw his attention, manas, mind, from the activities of the life force in various senses. Otherwise, he will be constantly distracted by restless thoughts. The mental concepts formed from sensory stimuli by the fanciful faculty of feeling, citta. The devotee who sits in a good posture and meditates at the point between the eyebrows learns to practice yoga, the uniting of ego and soul. In deep concentration, he finds his mind and heart, citta, feeling, free from sensory distractions and emotional likes and dislikes. With the mergence of ego into the taintless soul, he engages in the ultimate self-purification. Verse 13. Firmly holding the spine, neck, and head erect and motionless, let the yogi focus his eyes at the starting place of the nose, the spot between the two eyebrows. Let him not gaze around in various directions. A majority of Gita translators and commentators have misinterpreted the word nasikagram to mean tip of the nose. The word literally means origin of the nose. The origin or starting place of the nose is the spot between the two eyebrows, the seat of spiritual vision. In stanza 13, the yogi is rightly directed to concentrate on this vital spot, not on the tip of the nose. My guru Sri Yukteswar, noticing how frequently nasikagram is misunderstood, once said drolly, "The path of a yogi is singular enough as it is. Why counsel him that he must also make himself cross-eyed?" The Sanskrit word used in this verse is reference to an erect spine, is kaya, literally the body, or the trunk of a tree. The body is described as the tree of life, with roots above and branches below. The spine is its trunk, the physical nervous system, and the channel of astral life force. Its branches the brain and cosmic consciousness, with the cerebral centers of the medulla, spiritual eye, and thousand-petaled lotus are its roots, its source of life and vitality. Details of correct meditation posture. Meditation involves the withdrawal through the spine of life current from the sensory nerve branches, and the concentration of that accumulation of life force within the spherical spiritual eye. A straight spine and erectness of the neck and head are important in effective meditation. If one adopts an improper posture, his body bent or his chin tilted up or down, his crooked vertebrae pinch the spinal nerves. This pressure obstructs the reversal flow of mind and life force from the sensory channel to the brain. There is then no reinforcement of the power of the inner telescopic eye to perceive omnipresence. One should sit in a comfortable posture with the spine erect. The lumbar region of the spine, opposite of the navel, should be gently crooked forward, the chest up and shoulders back, which places the inner edges of the shoulder blades closer together. Each hand, palm upturned, should be put on the corresponding thigh at the juncture of the thigh and abdomen to prevent the body from bending forward. The chin should be parallel to the floor. While maintaining this correct position, undue tension in the muscles should be relaxed. When the yogi holds the spine in the form of a bow, by the above-mentioned posture, he is ready successfully to engage his reversed mind and life force in a battle with the outwardly pulling senses. Without any strictures or pinching of the spinal nerves, the mind and life force are easily directed upward by the yogi. Key to meditation: concentrating at the point between the eyebrows. As one switch pours through two channels, one electric current into the headlights of an automobile, so the one medullary astral eye of light supplies the two human eyes with two lights, a forked light. This gives the delusive dual and dimensional perception of matter. Thus focused outwardly, the eyes are ordinarily constantly oscillating. The ego directs the two optic searchlights into various angles according to its psychological inclinations. Under the influence of specific stimuli and emotions, the eyes assume different positions and angles. Anger, jealousy, hate, love, determination, all change the angle of vision and appearance of the eyelids and eyeballs. The thoughts roused by the stimuli keep rotating the searchlight eyes, playing them in various directions to perform a variety of mental and physical activities. In this sense-conscious state, the eyes are rarely still concentrated. Yet even in the most restless man, when his thoughts are singularly concentrated, his eyes become still and begin to have one-angle vision. In the concentrated state of superconsciousness, that angle of vision is at the point between the eyebrows, the natural seat of will and concentration, and of the divine perception in the body. The aspirant who wants to produce the superconscious state, characterized by conscious relaxation of life energy from the senses, must learn to fix his eyes and their gaze at this center. When the gaze of the two eyes is concentrated at the point between the eyebrows, the dual currents flowing from the medulla into the two eyes reunite, and the yogi sees at this center the spiritual eye of three colors, a reflection of the actual luminous eye in the medulla oblongata. The illumination of this spiritual eye, by this reversal of life force, in the two eyes exert a strong pull on the life force throughout the body. The senses which were projected outside to cognize matter are recalled within to concentrate on the source from which all the powers of the senses and mind flow. This Gita stanza therefore advises the devotee of the necessity of concentrating the light of the two eyes at the point between the two eyebrows, at the origin of the nose, as a prime requisite of yoga meditation. The single eye of light reflected in the forehead from the medulla is the astral eye of intuitive, omnipresent perception. When the light of the two eyes is concentrated between the eyebrows, as a single reinforced light, the yogi can see his body as made of the light that emanates from God. The soul uses the spherical astral eye of intuition to perceive cosmic light and cosmic consciousness. Concentrating at the point between the eyebrows, yogi perceives the spiritual eye. Whereas the characteristic of the physical eyes is to perceive creation or matter by looking at one thing at a time, by shifting the gaze or by looking at several points at the same time. The nature of the spherical eye is to behold all matter, all energy, and all consciousness simultaneously. Man, made in the image of God, has in his forehead the Lord's all-seeing power. Christ referred as follows to the omniscient eye of God. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a farthing? And one of them shall not fall on the ground without the sight of your Father. Jesus, lifting up his eyes and looking through his single omnipresent eye, ever found himself at one with the cosmic consciousness of the Father, the Lord who simultaneously perceives all the material universes, all the astral universes, and all the ideational universes. The ordinary man, concentrating his vision with half-closed eyes at the point between the eyebrows, feels eye strain in the beginning, owing to the unfamiliar practice. The yogi, on the other hand, used to concentrating upward on his spiritual eye, finds it distasteful to identify his consciousness with the downward material vision of his 2 physical eyes. Concentrating on the point between the 2 eyebrows during meditation helps the devotee to keep his eyes neither fully closed nor fully opened. This practice prevents the onrush of either subconscious slumber or complete conscious wakefulness. Thus, the meditating yogi learns to penetrate into the superconscious sphere existing between the subconscious darkness above and the visible light below. The dividing line between the upper darkness and the lower material light of the half-closed and half-opened eyes is called the horizon of the superconsciousness. A person meditating with closed eyes may fall asleep. Trying to meditate with open eyes, he may be thwarted by the stubborn visions of matter. That is why the yogi is advised to avoid the total darkness of closed eyes and the full light of opened eyes. Instead, he concentrates his vision on the superconscious horizon. If a person deeply concentrates on the horizon at the point between the eyebrows, where darkness and light meet, without straining the eyes, he reinforces the 2 currents in the 2 eyes into the original single current and gradually learns to penetrate through the spiritual eye into the superconscious beatitude. In this way, the mortal habit of dual frontal vision or of perceiving dimensional matter is changed into the spherical vision or intuitive perception of the one omnipresence. In spite of any mild discomfort of the unaccustomed positioning of the eyes, the yogi beginner should gently and calmly concentrate his vision at the point between the eyebrows. Holding the gaze steady, not looking around or permitting any restless movement of the eyeballs or flickering of the eyelids. In time, he will see the spherical spiritual eye. The presence of a concentration of the light of the force in the eyes is evidenced by the fact that even a gentle pressure on the eyeballs, by the fingers pressing gently and rotating over the eyelids of the closed eyes, will cause the emission of light in the darkness of the closed eyes. Many think that this pressure-induced light is just physical. This is not the case. This light, seen only by the consciousness, is not grossly physical. It is rather a semi-physical and semi-spiritual manifestation of the life energy that builds, guides, and enlivens all the bodily tissues. Degrees of perception of the light of the spiritual eye. Seeing the inner light by yoga concentration methods of fixing the gaze, attention, and devotion, instead of by physical pressure, refines the semi-spiritual manifestation, changing it into the finer vibratory rate of its pure spiritual nature. Hence the quality of the semi-spiritual light seen by gently pressing the eyes is enhanced when an increase in the depth of the devotee's meditation. In deep meditation, when one's eyes and gaze are fixed in between the eyebrows, the life energy pouring from behind the wall of elusive, man-made darkness through the sluice gates of the two eyes floods the center of will in the forehead as a mass of brilliant energy, a bubbling lake of white light. This light may change into colors or shapes of infinite variety. The different rates of thought vibrations of the meditating devotee produce the variations. The common first fruit of concentration is white light. Expressions of devotion, love, and wisdom all produce different variations. But when the devotee is established in the intensive, desireless, calm, intuitive state of meditation, then all variations of the light in the spiritual eye begin to change into the one true spiritual eye. When the yogi concentrates long enough with half eyes open at the point between the eyebrows, and when the gaze is without any restless motion, he will be able to see a steady light surrounded by other, but flickering, lights. He should not be diverted by this glimmering halo of the spiritual eye, but should steadfastly look at the center of the eye until he feels his mind completely absorbed within it. In time, he will see the perfect formation of the spiritual eye, a dark, opal blue globe within a quivering ring of flame. Gradually, by deep concentration, an extremely brilliant white star occasionally glimmers at the center of the blue. The star is the gateway through which the consciousness must pass to attain oneness with the spirit. It requires time and calm practice to steady the light of the intuitive astral eye. It takes deeper and longer practice to see that star. It requires greater realization to hold the perception of the star, and it takes mastery in meditation to march the consciousness, valiantly triumphant, through the starry gate of light. Penetrating the spiritual eye, yogi reaches progressively higher states. After the devotee is able at will to see his astral eye of light and intuition with either closed or open eyes, and to hold it steady indefinitely, he will eventually attain the power to look through it into eternity. And through the starry gateway, he will sail into omnipresence. Progression through the spiritual eye, experienced by advancing yogis, unfolds first the wondrous perception of superconsciousness, the region of rays of light out of which all matter evolves. The creative cosmic rays hide like veils the presence of the immanent universal Christ, or Krishna consciousness, the Lord omnipresent in creation.
Seeing thee, I am thrilled through and through. Seeing thee, I am thrilled through and through. What lightning flash gleamers in thy face, mother. What lightning flash gleamers in thy face. Seeing thee, I am thrilled through and through. Seeing thee, I am thrilled.
By deeper concentration and meditation, the spiritual eye of intuition opens, and through the wisdom star, the yogi becomes united to the Christ Krishna omnipresence, and thence, in deepest ecstasy, he reaches the cosmic consciousness of spirit.
Amen.
Another instruction can be added in this connection. The astral eye of light can most easily be seen at night or in a dark room. The highly developed yogi, however, can see the spiritual eye even in daylight or in the presence of any strong light. Just as a drowsy man can sleep in the day or night, so the advanced yogi can see the spiritual eye and go into ecstasy at will, irrespective of the presence of darkness or of any kind of light. He learns to penetrate his consciousness into the astral eye, and absorbing his whole being therein, he looks into the realm of spirit, remaining there, oblivious of the material world. Ordinary individuals who yearn to get rid of the obnoxious trials of the conscious life cannot go at will to the subconscious state of restful sleep or to the blissful superconscious state, owing to habits of worry and to lack of control of the life currents in the eyes and the vision and in the mind behind them. But the yogi learns by closing the eyes and relaxing the gaze to sleep at will. By keeping them open, gazing straight ahead, he learns to remain awake indefinitely. Holding his eyes half open and half closed, and concentrating at the spiritual eye, the devotee can at will, and for as long as he chooses, enter and remain in a state of superconscious ecstasy. Thus, just by opening or closing his eyes, or keeping them half open, the advanced yogi can transfer his concentration at will from the physical world to the subconscious slumberland, or to the superconscious state. Summoning or dismissing these states at will, he becomes master of the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious worlds. As the devotee progresses in meditation from restless consciousness to cosmic consciousness, his conscious and subconscious thoughts may materialize in his inner vision, weaving figures of light, like those seen in the movies, both real and unreal materializations of the will and life energy. Beware, young devotee, of these fairies of the world of life energies. Be not satisfied with anything less than spirit and the bliss of spirit. Pay no attention to variations of the inner light, but practice concentration on the light of the spiritual eye. The light of the eye must be used only to look for God, the one whose presence is hidden on the throne of light. Excerpts from the book God Talks with Arjuna by Paramahansa Yogananda.